Hey everyone, Kellen Brower from Racetracks back again with another race examination video. Going to take a look at a couple things from Southwick, and particularly off the start here in 450 Moto 1. Jason Anderson going down for the second week in a row off the start in the first 450 Moto. Not a bad start for him. I mean, he was going to come out maybe 10th or so through the first corner, but ends up just going down in the melee that is a Southwick first turn because there's so much dust and dirt kicked up. But if we watch it again, as he comes into this corner, it's kind of tough to tell. He may clip Plessinger to go down. As you're going to see, he's going to kind of bounce off of Tomac, and Tomac pushes wide, but Plessinger right there, the rear end kind of slides, and Anderson pretty much right after this moment loses the front end. He may have just lost it in like all the dust that's getting kicked up from all the sand, but maybe he got clipped by Plessinger. Tough to tell, but obviously tough for Anderson to come all the way back through the field like that. Moving a little bit forward in the first 450 Moto, Ryan Dungey's going to go down, push the front end through some sand in this tricky corner right here. And what's interesting about this corner is we're going to take a different view of it here. These guys are kind of like jumping into this corner, so they're already light, trying to get planted for the corner. Here's another view from Tom Journet, his camera right here. Dungey just pushing the rut out a little bit right there. And that's one of those things we're going to see not only this past weekend at Southwick, but this coming weekend in Millville because of those sandy conditions at Millville. So something to keep an eye on for both classes. But if we move to 450 Moto 2, I wanted to highlight something that my buddy Byron Downen actually showed me. Ryan Dungey's gate almost didn't drop in the second moto, as you see him right next to the box right there. The gate's going to kind of like bounce halfway down, and then Dungey clips it as it finally goes all the way down. And I'm always interested in these situations. Like, if Dungey did hit the gate, wouldn't that warrant like a red flag situation? Because there's a gate malfunction at that point. It's clearly like, as we watch it again here in slow motion, it like drops and then like hits something, bounces back up, and then Dungey clips with his front tire and it goes down. He doesn't get a terrible start from this mishap, but maybe he could have gotten a better start. I don't know. Very, very weird situation to see how just a small gate malfunction like that could come into play with the moto. But as we continue on with this footage right here, Alex Martin going to do his best Kevin Windham impression and transfer back onto the track from a 5th place start. And this is a pretty wild ride right here. Kind of ballsy by Martin to just elect to hop over these motorsport banners and land right back alongside next to Aaron Plessinger and in front of 36 other guys that if he gets it wrong, he might collect somebody else. What I'm curious about though is who's already done this line, because there's clearly like a landing spot that he hits and a line that looks like someone landed in before. Maybe that's just like the weird, rut kicked up from someone going by before. I'm not too sure, but interesting to see that right there. But here we have a different view of it from the outside of the corner. I mean, at any point, someone could pull up right next to him and he'd be jumping back into somebody else, but he just hops over those banners right back onto the track. Pretty cool, honestly. I mean, he was able to get a good start and run up front for a little bit. And did it all because he was ballsy enough to jump back onto the track from outside of the track in the fire lane. Now, the last little bit here I wanted to talk about is Eli Tomac, and when he's feeling it in the Southwick sand, he loves to like hop over these bumps. That's pretty much how you have to do it in the sand. But another thing I want to talk about is what is going on with Flow Racing's coverage here. They've got these like weird frame within a frame things happening. It's really hard to slow this footage down and show you guys stuff, but I want to give a shout out, of course, to Justin Campbell, who actually showed me this on Twitter. I was trying to find some footage to show off how cool it is when Eli Tomac is really feeling it at Southwick, and this footage right here does a perfect job of that. He's just kind of bouncing down the hill, jumping through these bumps, making it look real easy, and in the end, maybe it kind of was easy because he went 1-1 on the day, and he's closing right up on trying to get the red plate away from Chase Sexton.
I want to remind everybody that this video is presented by onX Off-Road. Know where to go with the #1 off-road GPS app, access 500,000 plus miles of trails and roads, open dates, and public lands. Download the onX Off-Road app today.
All right, so as we go to the 250 class now, we're pretty much just going to focus on the Hunter Lawrence saga, which all pretty much unfolded in the first moto, carried into the second moto a little bit, but it starts with a bad start. Now, Southwick is a terrible place to get a bad start because you're just swallowing sand for 30 minutes if you don't get a good start like his brother Jet Lawrence did right here. So off the start, it wasn't the worst jump ever. I think he got out-jumped by, I think that's Voland and Kitchen, I think, on either side of him. But as with Southwick here, the inside line always funnels from far right to left, so he's always going to get a little bit pinched right here, and then actually gets really pinched off right there. Actually has to back out of the throttle. I think almost gets clipped by Voland. But here's the difference between a good day at Southwick and a bad day at Southwick. 4 seconds into the first 250 moto of the day, and Hunter Lawrence is watching his brother Jet get the whole shot while he gets swallowed up in the first corner and comes out in 15th or so, 12th or 15th. So not a good start. Then you're obviously having to fight back all the way through the field from that point on. And eventually he is going to catch up to Stilez Robertson. They get into a bit of a battle. And then Hunter goes down on the backside of this little roller jump right here. As we're going to pan ahead, you can see the contact. And then Lawrence going down almost gets hit by Max Voland, who he just passed a few corners, or a few laps before that, I should say. And then eventually gets hit by a couple other guys, rolls off the side of the track. Now here's a tremendous back view filmed by our own Tom Journet. And you be the judge. Now, what I will say is on this stretch of the racetrack particularly, it is kinking to the left off of this little scrub single right here. It is not a straight line into that Lucas Oil tabletop. So the line is always going from right to left, but obviously Robertson goes pretty far right to far left here, and Lawrence is already there. Maybe Robertson didn't know he was there. Obviously, if you're Robertson, you're looking at this as a racing incident. If you're Hunter, you can see why he'd be upset about the cross jump. So when he catches Robertson late in the moto, he definitely gives him a little bit of attitude here with a pass, and they definitely got into it after the race as well. So I don't speak helmet knees, but as far as I can tell, what looks like happens here is Lawrence saying something along the lines of like, bro, you cross jumped me, use your head. And then Robertson's like, what are you talking about, bro? Get out of my face. Something like that. And then says, that's your fault. You were on that side of the track. And then Lawrence says, I don't know, something like, I guess I'll see you later. And then Robertson says, no, come back. And then, man, he wants his bike to start so bad right here. He's just holding down the electric start, and it actually lurches forward because he lets go of the bars, which means he lets go of the clutch right there. Bike lurches forward. Nobody going by seems to care that they are arguing or fighting each other. And then they eventually continue on. Now, they got back into it in the pits a little bit later on, and they were yelling at each other. Lawrence was telling him he's going to take him out in the next moto, and nothing ended up happening because Lawrence got a bad start again, never caught up to Robertson, and was just eating sand pretty much all day long. So loses the red plate. Not sure it would have mattered anyway. Jet was pretty flawless all day long. 2 good starts. A little bit of a crash in the first moto allowed Justin Cooper to take the lead momentarily, but Jet clearly had a bit of redemption on his mind after the bike failure last week in Redbud, and now he has the red plate back in his hands after a 1-1 performance at Southwick. So we'll see. Maybe Hunter Lawrence rebounds this weekend in Millville.